Good morning, good afternoon, good day. Welcome to my live market meeting, 15th May 2020. Are you able to hear me and see my screen? If you can, please type a message on the live chat feature of YouTube Live. Thank you. I am Sagar Nandi. I used to work in information technology, mostly based in Singapore. I have retired several years ago. Now I am living in Thailand, swing trading stocks using the Q systems and techniques that I developed. You may watch these and other trading videos on my YouTube channel Trading Profitably and contact me using my email ID tradingprofitably@gmail.com. I regularly share live market and stock analysis on my traders forum sagarnandi.com and also on my Twitter page sagarnandi. All these resources are open to the public and you are most welcome to make use of them. Disclaimer: this demonstration is for educational purposes only. It is designed to share information on the trading systems and techniques I use. The information presented here should be used by people who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. Past performance is no guarantee of future return. I am not an investment advisor. This session is not for any recommendation of buying or selling stock or any other instrument. I will have no liability for any investment decision made by the audience. This is a live market analysis session. I will use probably all the Q systems, Q Global, Q Finder, Q Elite for technical analysis, Q Vital for fundamental and peer analysis, Q Edge for sector industry rotation analysis, and Q Index for market level analysis. That was the last slide of my presentation. I'll now continue with live system. I mentioned in the invitation of today's session that I am planning to close all the positions that I have today, or most of the positions. Not that I have a large number of swing trade short-term positions open, but whatever I have, I may close, and the reason is the market is not moving in a clear directional manner. And I will demonstrate that. Let's start with some of the major global markets. This is Australian market. Over 5 days, it was mostly down. The red pie portion shows that more stocks were down. However, today more are up. It is showing indecision, and if I look at the Australian index AXJO, it is moving inside a narrow range triangle pattern bound by resistance memory at the top, support memory at the bottom. When the market itself moves in this manner, if you are taking directional swing trades, the possibility of being stopped out is more. However, as I always say, if you are buying a stock where the fundamentals are strong, technicals are strong, and industry is also strong, the chance of being stopped out is less. The market tends to give you an opportunity to exit with a small profit or maybe a small loss, but the chance of getting stopped out is less. Though the chance of getting stopped out is less with Q 360 degrees technique, still it doesn't make much sense to take a directional trade when market is moving in a narrow range like XJO is doing now. And the weekly is also very indecisive. Friday's market has closed for Australian market. This is not a market where you may want to buy or short stocks. And if you see, I am using Q index to have a view of the market. I usually do not use Q index to look for industries or stocks that are strong. For that, I use Q edge and Q vital. The use of index is to look at the broad market. Everything is real time. Now I'm looking at Hang Seng Index, Hong Kong market. While it is retrieving data, let's look at the charts. Hong Kong market is also moving inside a narrow range. Again, it is bound by multiple memory resistance lines and memory support line. This is not a market again where you would like to take directional swing trades. You may notice the memory resistance that was in the weekly chart. When Hang Seng Index came to the memory resistance in the weekly chart, that was the time you could switch to daily interval and try to take a short trade, which would be on this day, starting from that day. I applied that technique very effectively in taking some short trades in the USA market. You could do that in Hong Kong market also. And if you took that short trade either in Hang Seng Index or underlying stocks when price was reversing from the memory resistance starting from this day, by today you would book profit. You would not hold on to the position because it has hit a memory support. Again, that was exactly what I did for the USA market. I will show that later when I am analyzing the USA market. Let's go back to Q index. Today's market is balanced. It's little bit more bearish than bullish, but you can say it is balanced. And earlier, over 5-day period, it was more bearish. Let's look at the India market. And I am also going to open the India market index Nifty 50 on Q Global. It is staying right on top of the memory support line. The weekly backdrop color is cyan, that is bullish. If price can go up from here on Monday, then you may look for buying opportunities. There may not be any immediate long trade setup on Nifty 50 on this index itself. However, if price is able to bounce up from this trend line support, you may look at underlying stocks and look for buy setup. Right now, we are not sure whether it will go up or go down. It seems the likelihood is higher that it will go up from here, but we have to see. The daily is saying that the likelihood is higher that it will go up. However, the weekly is very indecisive. It has a long upper tail, somewhat small lower tail. The body is solid. However, the color is bullish, so it is not giving clear signal when we combine weekly and daily both. What about the index? No. Over 5 days, it is more or less balanced. Today also, it is more or less balanced. There is no clarity from this Q index graph. Let's look at the FTSE, the UK market, and you may not find FTSE here. Some of the major markets are there. If you wanted to look at another market like UK, you may just type the index.ftse. And while it is retrieving data, let's look at the charts. Here the weekly backdrop color is bullish. The candle shape is indecisive. In the daily, it is falling from the memory resistance. Interestingly, there was a bearish headwind on this day so far that could catch the local top. When it came to the memory resistance, here you could start to look for shorting opportunities and you would end up with some profitable swing short trend. Again, that is exactly what I did in the USA market. Right now the weekly is bullish for FTSE and the daily is looking bearish, not giving clear signal. So there is no clear trade opportunity. If we look at the index graph over 5-day, it is mostly bearish. Today it is bullish. Again, no clear signal. Now let us look at the USA market. I am using Q Elite now on TradeStation. I have drawn some trend lines that are broken now. These are in cyan color. If you are following me on YouTube and Twitter, you know that right on this day when SPY S&P 500 ETF broke above this memory resistance line, I pointed to that fact. Later on, it came down. One day ago, it broke below the memory support. However, yesterday it recovered nicely, though it closed right below the memory support. It couldn't close above it. And now it is coming to the tip of the triangle pattern. Unless it can break out in one direction or the other, we are not sure where the next preferred trade direction will be. If price can reverse from here, that will be something like a dead cat bounce, considering yesterday's price move as a bounce. If it goes down from here, we may look for shorting opportunities. SPY itself may not give shorting opportunity because the weekly color is still bullish and the shape is also indecisive. However, you may look at underlying stocks. If SPY goes down from here, we are going to look for short opportunities. On the other hand, if price goes up from here, we may have to wait for price to break out of the memory resistance first, and when it breaks out, the stop may be too far away. In that case, my preferred approach is for price to pull back and then go up again, giving me a very low risk buy point. And when it pulls back, if it pulls back to either this memory support or even this memory resistance price level, that would give the probably the most optimal buy point. However, if it doesn't hit those memory support or resistance lines, but in any case pulls back and goes up again, that will also give a buying opportunity using the go with flow trend following long trade setup. What about DIA? The day when SPY broke out of the memory resistance, DIA also did. Then it reversed, it broke below the memory support and very similar to SPY, recovered yesterday but closed just below the memory support. If it falls down from here, then I'm going to look for shorting opportunity. However, today is Friday, so if it reverses from here, I may be cautious unless there is a very clear signal when I combine the weekly daily both that market is going down or more likely to go down. Only then I am going to take short trades and hold on to that over the weekend. If the weekly daily combined together is not giving any clear signal, I may not like to enter new trade. Instead, I may prefer to close some of the existing positions. Let's look at QQQ now. QQQ is continuing in an uptrend in the daily chart. This is the only one that don't have any memory resistance line. Instead, it came to the memory support. Even one day ago, it held the support, and yesterday it tried to go down but recovered very nicely. On this day, I had taken a bearish position in IWM using put options, and I made more than 40%, I think 46% profit, and I exited the trade. Why did I exit the trade? Because I saw that the memory support in QQQ was holding. Let's look at IWM. IWM again started to be weaker than the other ETFs. There was a bearish headwind that could catch the local top, and the relative performance line is showing it is again starting to underperform the market. I took a short trade using put options on this also, intraday trading. I made a profit on that, and on this day I took a put option again on IWM. I made 46% profit. Why I didn't hold on to the position was because I saw QQQ was holding memory support. And usually I tend to look at the 4 market ETFs on one of the monitors: IWM, DIA, QQQ, SPY. Some people prefer to look at the futures. That is also fine. I look at the ETFs because it shows me the gap up and gap down moves very clearly. But both are okay. It's up to a person's personal preference. Let me align the chart on the day I took the trade. Go back. So I have these vertical lines in all of the charts. You can see on the day when I took the short trade, the early range lines formed for all the ETFs. Here for QQQ and lastly for SPY. IWM had opened lower from previous day, and I was able to short right at this point because it was in the morning session. I was not using 10-minute interval, I was using 5-minute interval. I shorted it at this point, and for that day I put my stop following the guideline just above early range high. That was not hit, it came down, and I could book profit right at this point. Let me align the charts again. Global tracking here. Should switch it on again. Global tracking here. No. Here. You can see that from there price went up. This is what caused the lower tail in IWM. Why I closed my position in spite of having a good profit, and IWM was closing at that time was lower on the daily chart, was that I looked at the price level in QQQ. It was around 217. That was the price level of the daily memory support line, and QQQ was holding that. I had significant profit and I didn't want to erode it. If you are trading options, you know that when it goes against you, the profit erodes very fast, much faster than one would like to. So I closed my IWM position at that time. this was the level around 217. If you go back to the daily chart of QQQ, this was the level around 217. What I explained is how I look at the intraday charts of the 4 market ETFs. In the morning session 5-minute interval, in the afternoon session I switch to 10-minute interval, and also I look at the trend line, memory trend line support that is coming in any of the market ETFs or maybe the market futures to decide to close my existing position or open a position. If it is reversing, I may open a long position. If it is coming to support, I may close a short position. Let's look at the futures now. Though SPY and DIA could break out of the memory resistance one of these days, I had noticed that E-mini futures couldn't break out of the memory resistance. And the same thing was true for YM also, the Dow futures E-mini. Because of that, though SPY and DIA broke out of memory resistance at this point, I did not share any breakout long candidate in the traders forum. Neither did I take any of those. Instead, price reversed. Remember, I mentioned that when price reversed from the memory resistance line in the market instrument, that is an optimal point to take short trade in individual stocks. So I took a few short trades, and then I looked at the daily candles for the market ETFs, market futures. QQQ was holding very nicely, and you can see E-mini futures also recovered yesterday significantly. So I started booking profit in my short positions. All my short positions are now either fully closed or partially closed, and I could decide to make those precise entry and exits based on observing the market futures and ETFs, looking at their trendline support and trendline resistance. Now it is moving in a very narrow range. Today in overnight market, it tried to go up and now it is falling below the memory support. I mentioned earlier while analyzing SPY that if SPY could fall below memory support, that would mean ES is also falling below memory support. That may be somewhat like a dead cat bounce if you consider a single day's recovery as a bounce. Then you may look for shorting opportunities. Again, the weekly is still bullish in color. Unless I have clarity, I may not want to open many new long positions and or short positions either way. If it falls down, I would like to take short positions, but I would not like to enter those trades unless I have clarity. Right now there is not enough clarity. That is why in the invitation of this webinar I mentioned that unless the market moves significantly today, I may decide to close few more positions and not open any new position. I mentioned that while price was reversing from the memory resistance, I could take some trades. In fact, if you notice my forum posts during this period, or maybe I should redraw it, during this period, I didn't share any long trade setup. I might have shared some long opportunity that was below memory resistance, and I had mentioned, for example, arrowhead. I didn't track it later. Let's see. Is it the right symbol? Maybe no. No, not this one. Arrowhead. What is the... I shared one stock idea in my traders forum. What was that? Let's look at it. Sagarnandi's trade idea. Arrowhead, is it? Arrowhead. Yes, ARWR, Arrowhead Pharmaceutical. By the way, that is the reason I keep the icon open always, dock to the top. I'm not using it for any other purpose mostly, but to look up a symbol or the suffix, the Thomson Reuters suffix for the symbol. So ARWR, I had shared it in the forum. Let's have a look at that post, and you will see again how I am applying the Q systems, the 360 degrees technique. When I shared it 4 days ago, healthcare was the only sector as of that time, as of 10:58 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That was the only sector that was not down. It was not up also, break even at that time. However, the industry biotech was one of the strongest. Only 19 industries were up, and biotech was one of the strongest. So I looked at the biotech stocks and I found Arrowhead Pharma, ARWR, great valuation, short squeeze potential. It was up by more than 5%. Earnings is far away. Then I looked at the technicals and I mentioned that it is looking like going up. In the weekly, it bounced nicely from this price level, went up, pulled back, and starting to go up again with bullish backdrop color, bullish shape in the weekly chart. In the daily, it went up, pulled back, and right on that day it was starting to go up. It broke above one memory resistance. However, there were several memory resistances, and I mentioned that if it breaks out of these memory resistances, then it may give a low risk buying opportunity, and there is no resistance nearby in the daily or weekly charts. That was what I shared, a possible long idea. I didn't follow it later. Let's look at it. Let's look at it using Q Global ARWR. If I have a position in a stock, I tend to follow it up. Okay, it is taking its own sweet time to load. Okay, it finished loading. Okay, so you see, so far it has not been able to break out of those memory resistance lines. Therefore, following Q guideline, one would still wait patiently. It is moving inside a narrow range. The weekly backdrop color is still remaining bullish. If it can break out, that may give us a breakout long candidate. Other than one or two possible ideas like this, Arrowhead Pharma, my recent ideas in the forum were all bearish trades. And as I tend to say, if you follow me on forum and Twitter, you would know where is my directional preference for short-term trading. I shared bearish trades on multiple stocks. One was on DRE. All these are from forum. I don't like to look back and say that you could short it here, you could long it here, unless I had already shared the analysis using live data. And DRE was one of them. Right when it broke out of the memory support, I shared it as a breakout short candidate. You could take the short during the day. You didn't have to wait for the end of the day. The weekly was also weak. The industry fundamentals all were weak. This was a star shorting candidate, as I say, in terms of fundamentals. It hit the lower boundary in one day. Yesterday, it tried to go down and recover. I have already booked 2/3 of my position. If price is going up from here, it will hit my trailing stop on the remaining position, and I will still be able to close the entire trade with a reasonable profit because I booked profit on 2/3 of my position, not half, but 2/3 of my position. Looking at the charts, it looks like there is a possibility if the market goes down from here that it may go down, or even if it goes up, there is a memory resistance trend line. From there it may reverse. So I am not in a hurry to exit the remaining position. Let's look at the post that I shared. It is quite informative in my view to look back on the trades. Doesn't matter whether it is hitting profit target or stop loss, but when we look back, we can see if the analysis was appropriate. We cannot control the profit, but we can certainly control how we are analyzing and taking a trade. This was DRE. When I shared the idea, the industrial rates was very weak, magenta color in QH, and this I shared at 2:52 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In terms of fundamentals, it was a star shorting candidate, overvalued stock plus negative earnings growth. These are my ideal stocks for shorting in terms of fundamentals. On that day, as of that time, the stock was down more than 5%. And it was very nicely breaking out of memory support. Not only that, it created lower high and lower low, had a magenta color candle. Therefore, it not only gave a breakout short candidate, but it also gave a go with flow trend following short candidate. Go with flow has a requirement for the weekly to be magenta, backdrop color magenta. That was also made. The relative performance was very weak. And I could book profit at the lower boundary comfortably. That was a short trade I took and booked profit. Another short trade I took was in JRVR. I shared it when it was breaking out of this memory support. After a few days, it hit the lower boundary, and again here I have booked 2/3 position profit. I have applied trailing stop on the remaining position. I had explained earlier, during this period the market went up for 4 to 5 days, but you can see JRVR didn't go up enough to stop me out. And that is what I always tend to say. If you are taking a trade with 360 degrees technique, where fundamental, technical, industry, strength or weakness all are aligned, it is less likely that you will be stopped out. Here, even though the market was going up after I shorted the stock, my stock didn't stop out. Let's review the analysis again when I posted it. By the way, if you register on the forum with your email ID, whenever I share any post in the forum, it may alert you with an email that there is a new post. I share my ideas in this category, Saganandi's trade idea. You may follow that category, and several other Q traders, Rick, Wadi, they are sharing ideas in Q trader stock pick. Very nice analysis from them also. You may follow this category also, so that you get notified whenever anything is posted in the trading categories. Let's look at my post on JRVR. If you want a breakout, Q got a breakout. You have heard me saying I'm not a big fan of breakout trades because sometimes the stop is not nearby. But I am not big fan doesn't mean people cannot trade breakout trades. Many people trade, and I shared this, and I in this case took a short trade also. The industry, property and casualty insurance was weak. I shared it just before the market closed, 15:44 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, this was a star shorting candidate in terms of fundamentals, overvalued stock, negative earnings growth. As of that time, it was down by 7%. Earnings was far away. very nicely. It was breaking out of the memory support. The weekly was also very bearish, both in color and shape, and 1 week ago also the candle shape was very bearish. If you notice the daily chart, there was a magenta color candle here. However, we wouldn't short it because there was a memory support. So if you followed the stock, the first day you could short after this sideways move, after this double top, you may say. First day you could short it logically was the day when I shared it. And I expected to book profit at the lower boundary, which I could do. Then I shared another idea on AEL. The day when I shared AEL, if you follow the conversation in the category QTrader stock pick, you would notice that the other Q traders also could not find any 360 degrees opportunity, long or short. They shared some posts, but they themselves were not very happy with the selection. And that is what happens, I commented, when the market is telling us not to take a trade. Then I shared an idea on AEL. Let me search for that. AEL. And I mentioned that if at all I am being flexible on one of the 360 degrees criteria, that is on the fundamental side, because fundamentals don't change every day. If I am going to be flexible, I am not going to be flexible on market. If market is bullish, I am not going to take short trade. I am not going to be flexible on industry also. If industry is strong, I am not going to short it. Certainly not technical. I can only make money if a stock goes up, if I buy that. So I'm not going to be flexible on technical. If a stock is dropping, I'm not going to buy it. Vice versa. However, sometimes I may be flexible on fundamental, but then again, not on the bullish side. Only when I am taking a short trade, even if the fundamental is telling me it's not the best stock for shorting, I may be flexible on that. When I may be flexible, when I am thinking that the market is declining, thinking based on data, based on Q systems analysis, my market outlook is bearish or preferred trade direction is short. Only on the bearish side, I am willing to be flexible on fundamentals. Even if the fundamental is not weak, I allow myself to short the stock if my market outlook is bearish. However, I am not going to be flexible on industry, market, and technical forces. Therefore, for shorting, I will still need my market outlook to be weak, industries to be weak, and technical to be weak. And that was the case in AEL. Like Wadi and like Rick, I also didn't find a trade setup that had all the forces, market, industry, technical fundamentals aligned. However, I found this one where I could be flexible on fundamentals. The industry was very weak, life and health insurance. And now the fundamentals. The valuation was medium. Earnings growth was quite robust, not only in the last quarter, in the last 3 quarters, not only that, in last 3 years also. It's actually a high growth stock. It's not weak fundamentally. However, on that day when I shared it, I saw the industry was weak. Not only that, out of the 14 peer stocks, all of them were down, and this stock AEL was down the most. You are able to figure that out just from the color coding. You don't have to read the actual numbers. AEL being in most bright red color, you would know instantly that this was the weakest. Fundamentals were not weak, but it was the weakest stock on that day. Industry was weak and it was breaking down below memory support. Again, if you followed the stock when it was moving inside a range bound by resistance memories, support memory, this was the only day you could short it. You couldn't short it before that. The weekly was also bearish. So I was not flexible on technicals. I was not flexible on industry. My market outlook was allowing me to take a short trade. What happened to AEL after that? Yesterday, it initially fell down. I think I shared it in the forum. Let's see, more than 6% profit. When I cut and paste it, I had more than 6% profit on that day, but my PNL was about 5.9% when I shared it. After that, it might have gone down a little bit. And I was looking at the market. As I mentioned, I always keep my market ETF, or you can say market futures charts, open. And let me come to the end of the day. If you see now yesterday's price move, initially IWM went down, recovered, and the same pattern was there in all the market ETFs or market futures. This was a reversal pattern. What happened to AEL? And this is AEL using the fine-tuned chart. In the morning session, I would be using 5-minute chart. Let me switch to that. It opened with a gap down move. This was previous day's low, and this was Thursday's open. So it opened with a gap down move. Initially, it went down. I had 6% plus profit. And when I'm swing trading stocks, and these are not speculative penny stocks, if I get 6%, 5% profit in a day, I am happy with that. Then I saw market ETFs were reversing. QQQ, I knew had a memory support, and memory support and resistances tend to work well. So when it started to reverse, I closed 2/3 of my position, and then when it continued to go up, I didn't let it go above my shorting price. Initially, I closed 2/3 of my position. That is my standard practice, and then I closed the remaining position. Also didn't let it go into a loss. Again, this was not a 360-degree trade. I was not comfortable with the fundamental being so strong in terms of earnings growth, and I saw the market was reversing, so I exited the trade. I am currently holding partial position in DRE and JRVR, short position, 2/3 profit I have booked, and I am not in a hurry to close the remaining position. These were 360-degree trade. Even if they stopped out, it's okay. I followed my guideline to take the trades, and I will still have a profit if they stop out. The trailing stop is it. Now I could decide these exit points based on observing the market, and not only that, I look at the Q edge. We have multiple systems based on Thomson Reuters real-time data. One is Q index, one is Q vital, one is Q finder, and one is Q edge. Q edge is the program that I am always running in streaming mode. The others, I look at the index, I may go to the stocks, or I may simply click the pause button on the index homepage after I look at the graphs. I am not keeping it in streaming mode. Similarly, for Vital, I may analyze a stock. Once I have looked at the stock, the moment I click the peer analysis button, it switches streaming off automatically. And if I am happy with just the snapshot on homepage, I click the pause button. I am not keeping streaming on, except in Edge. Edge I always keep in streaming mode because these graphs keep on changing throughout the day. In addition to the market ETFs on one monitor, the Q Edge graphs help tremendously in knowing what is happening during the day. Of course, the swing trading decision is based on the weekly daily checklist. However, looking at the market reversing yesterday, I could decide to book full profit on AEL, and that might have been a good idea. I don't know, but anyway, booking profit is always a good idea. I should not say that. Booking 6% profit in a trading day is always a good idea in my short-term trading way. I shared a few posts yesterday from QH. Let's look at that, and you will see what was happening during the day. May 14th. Let's look at this one first. I shared it at 10:25 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All the sectors were down. All 11 sectors were down. The magenta bars showed that. And now in the latest QA, you are able to see what percentage of industries are up or down. As of that time, 99% of the industries were down. 96% of all the stocks in QH were also down. As of that time, there was no doubt the market was bearish, and that was at 10:25 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. From the beginning, from the open of the market yesterday, market was weak, and we could see that clearly from this. And I kept an eye on that. I shared another post, and not so much after the first post. This was 10:56 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now you could see that it is starting to reverse. Now instead of 90 plus, only 66 industries were down, and also only because relative to 90, 60 is much better. Only 63% stocks were down. If you looked at the sectors, 3 sectors were up. Earlier all the sectors were down. And then I kept following it up, and this was the graph at the end of the day. Now you see actually 70% of the industries were up. 65% stocks were up. 9 sectors were up. This is giving kind of breadth information, something that is not readily available from the market ETFs and futures. So I combine both of them. I also look at the Q Elite intraday market breadth. Here you can see the Nasdaq advanced decline, NYSE advanced decline, and NYSE up down volume, Nasdaq up down volume. In the beginning, the advanced decline was very bearish, maybe around minus 2,500 for both Nasdaq and NYSE, and then it started reversing. Nasdaq still closed just below zero, NYSE just above zero. So it was not a very bullish day, except that it was a strong recovery. Not that it closed with a very large gain, but the recovery was significant. If you look at the volume, throughout the day, the volume was more or less neutral. It was not going up steadily. Only near the end of the day, it went up, but doesn't show a very bullish day. The extreme ticks, they were more on the bullish side than bearish side, not very bullish. So this showed the recovery, but didn't mean that the day was very up day. So in any case, based on the recovery that I could see from this Q Elite market breadth from the market ETFs or futures and the Q Edge graphs, I could make my trading decisions, precise trading decisions. Let's now look at Q Finder. A few days ago, I showed that from the Finder graph being bullish, it became bearish, and see what happened yesterday. If we look at the trend continuation signals from breakout to go with flow, they are mixed. Breakouts more on the bearish side, pullback somewhat more on the bullish side, go with flow somewhat more on the bullish side, not strongly bullish. However, if you look at the reversal signals, now we can see memory touch many more on the bullish side, bounce also bullish side, headwind somewhat more, box somewhat more, reversal a lot more. That means many stocks hit memory support yesterday. When did that happen? That happened when QQQ also hit memory support and reversed. What happened yesterday? Market reversed and a large number of stocks reversed also, bullish reversal. Why did I share the idea on QNST yesterday? Let's now look at it. I saw that QQQ is holding support. There were large number of reversals in Finder and many stocks were hitting memory support, and I found QNST that was hitting memory support. So if I bought the stock yesterday, I was being not only aligned but perfectly tuned to the market. Just when the market, especially QQQ, hit support and went up, this stock also hit support and went up. I am not just aligning bullish market to a long trade, I am aligning the exact setup also. QQQ bounced from memory support and this stock bounced. It bounced with extreme high activity. What happened prior to that? It was going up nicely with very orderly fashion, higher high, higher low. This was earnings day. It gapped down but recovered beautifully. Then it pulled back, probably stopped out the weak holders. Where did it stop falling? Precisely at the memory support yesterday. What was the precise price level to take the long trade at this point? Was there such an opportunity? Let's see. This price point was 840. If you look at the fine-tune chart now in the morning session, 5 minute, the early range high was at 830 and the daily memory support was at 833, 835. So just when it was going above the early range high in the fine-tune chart, it was also regaining the daily memory support level, and that is when you could take a long trade somewhere at this price level. For the day you could put stop just below the day's low. In this case you wouldn't put below early range low because it could go below early range low in the morning session, so I would put it below the day's low as of my entry time, and then price went up, covered much more than the risk in the trade. If I took it as a day trade, I would close the position. If I took it as a swing trade, I would hold on to the position. That would be a precise entry. However, I didn't look at the stock during the day. I looked at the stock near the end of the day, and when I am entering a trade, I keep the market ETFs open, and let me put QNST here. I can see how QNST was aligned with the market. It also recovered very nicely along with the market, and I took a position near the end of the day. But before doing that, I checked its fundamentals first. QNST.O. It is in interactive media and services industry. Let's look at the industry. I click the cog icon. The industry is becoming stronger over 5 days, magenta, over 2 days magenta. Yesterday it became cyan, and the pace column shows acceleration. Cyan is acceleration. It accelerated heavily. That is also a reason to buy a stock. In terms of industry rotation, I could buy based on industry strength It was not so strong relative to others. The industry scorecard shows strength weakness relative to others. Relative to others, it was not so strong. However, it was strongly accelerating. That is a reason for buying a stock in the industry. And I checked the industry percentage, though relatively it was not the strongest yesterday, it still went up by 1.8%. That was a reason to buy a stock in the industry. What about the fundamentals? Valuation wise, in the middle, however, very nice earnings growth in the last quarter. Yearly periods earnings growth is positive. However, for short-term trading, I am looking for the last quarterly earnings growth. That increased a lot from the previous quarter, and it also has a short squeeze potential. We saw on the charts earnings is already over. Yesterday it was up by 8.7%. Remember, the market recovered, but how much did it go up by? Okay, maybe it has changed already. The pre-market data is starting to come now. Let's see. Yesterday, okay, here I think the yesterday's percentage change is still stored. SPY QQQ DIA went up by 1 point something percentage, IWM only 0.33 percentage, whereas my buy candidate went up by 8.7 percentage. So it was a 360 degrees trade idea with the understanding in my mind that market was not clearly bullish. It was not bearish also, it was neutral. For last few market roundup videos, I have also shared my market outlook is remaining neutral. It is moving sideways. Still, because QQQ bounced up from support and the markets recovered, I was looking for a bounce setup and I found QNST and I took a long position. If the market now goes down, I may get stopped out on QNST, but as I mentioned, likelihood of me getting stopped out without market giving me any chance whatsoever to exit with a small profit is less. It may happen, but it is less. And if market goes down continuously, no worries, I will be able to take more short positions. I have few, but I have two DRE and JRVR. I may add to short positions. So overall, my account I hope to keep positive every week. That is my outlook of the market. Now let me highlight a few things that I did. And whatever I am showing now, you may go to the standard download place. If you are already using Q systems, you don't need to do the full installation. You just need to go to the download and install, go to the Dropbox folder and download the systems where the date stamp is saying 14th May. You will find several systems. One thing that I have shared there is a series of Q Global templates. You may see I have many templates pinned to the menu bar in Q Global that is running on Metastore. And if I click this one, it says at a glance weekly daily. Why don't I open a chart? Close all. Let's open QNST. I'm opening with smart chart. It will open the daily chart with default template. And then I'm going to click this at a glance weekly daily. This template has everything, all the signals that I need to decide the trade setups. The trade setups are box, go with flow, headwind, and bounce. They have checklists, and this template, single template, has all the signals for all the checklists. So that's why using this single template I can decide. But if I am running a scan for go with flow trades, I don't need all the signals. So I created another variation of at a glance where only the signals required for go with flow and also the signals required for headwind, trend continuation and trend reversal setups. This has little bit less information but enough to decide whether there is a trend following or trend reversal trend, go with flow or headwind. Meaning when I am running the explorer for go with flow or explorer for headwind, then I don't need to look at all the signals. I may open the stock only with this little bit more clear template, less cluttered. And if I am running the scans for box or bounce, I may again remove some of the indicators, Q indicators, so that the chart is clearer. I just need the signals that are in the checklist. That's why I have 3 variations. If I was just trading myself, this complete at a glance would have been enough, but I share a lot of analysis on the forum and Twitter, and to help other traders, I like to remove the unnecessary signals. So I created several variations. You may not need them, but if you want them, I created a zip file with all the templates that I have pinned to my menu bar. If you download and if you apply, you may go to this folder. After you download, you go to document, metastock. First delete all the templates you have with Q prefix. After deleting, you may unzip the downloaded file and extract all the Q templates into this folder. After that, you may plug them onto the menu bar here by right clicking. I right click on the menu bar, custom toolbar properties. You may say new, browse, go to your documents, metastock folder and choose the templates one by one. You have to do it one by one. There is no way you can click all of them and pin them on the menu bar, but it is a one-time effort. Once you do them, if you want to do, you can get the variations that I use, but you may not need it. If you want, you can get them. Let me drink some water. Give me a minute. Okay, back. Next enhanced version is Q Edge. Here I have added these 3 graphs. The sector information in terms of summary, 0-day summary, and the actual bars, they were already changing in real time. Now you can also see the sector advanced decline, industry advanced decline, stock advanced decline changing in real time. That will give you a very clear idea what is happening. You will find it very useful if you just keep it running, keep streaming on throughout the day. And this is the only Q Zenith based application where I keep streaming on throughout the day. Next is Q Vital. Let me pause Q Vital. Let's go to Universe tab. I want to mention one thing. I have given a list of Thomson Reuters indices. Do I use them for my trading? Not really. There are certain aspects of my trading routine which are daily and some is weekly. Some daily, some weekly. For example, in Q Elite, the market breadth with weekly interval, that one I am not looking at every day. It may be confusing. Similarly, if you are at all using the Reuters indices, and now what you may do, you see, you can have the ready-made lists in Q Vital in the Universe tab, or you can add your own list here. Now I have added a peer analysis button. You can put your cursor anywhere on any of these columns. If I put it on the USA sector ETFs, click the peer analysis, because it is done on the Universe tab, it's going to get all the lists. I don't have to highlight in this manner. I just put my cursor anywhere on the column and I click the peer analysis. You see the enter symbol list comes to custom list. Now, if you are doing the same with the Reuters indices, you get all the Reuters indices, but my suggestion, if you are doing a price performance analysis on them, do it on a weekly basis. These are not updated in real time, and they are not the effective source for short-term trading to find out which sector industry is moving, because Q Edge does a much better job. It's fully real time, has much more detailed information, and you can seamlessly drill down or look up. You may look up from stocks or you may drill down from sectors. If at all you are using the Reuters indices for price performance analysis, you may do it only on a weekly basis. That is one thing I wanted to mention, and I also showed that now on the universe tab, if you want to do a peer analysis, for example, let's see peer analysis on this 196 USA stocks with liquid options, put cursor anywhere on the column, click the peer analysis, it gets the entire list in custom list. You don't have to do Control C, Control V or highlight the entire column. Clicking anywhere in the column will bring the stocks in custom list, and then you may carry out the peer analysis. I am pausing it. Now in Finder, you can click the binocular button to get the data from the signal long and signal short. So if I look at their reports for signal long, I right click, copy all, come to Finder and click the binocular on the long tab. It gets me the data. Now yesterday I saw many stocks were touching memory support. Okay, I have to fix something. For now, let me filter by color. There were many stocks that were touching memory support. Before looking at them individually, I may want to see how they are fundamentally. If you put your cursor anywhere in the table and click the peer analysis button, orange color, you will see it will get that stock because I highlighted only one stock. Let me pause, go back to Finder. What if I selected this stock and this stock using Control click? Now if I click the peer analysis button, it brings those two stocks in custom list. Doesn't use any of them as root stock, puts them in custom list, and I may carry out a peer analysis and compare them. Sometimes you may want to get the entire list in QVital. For that, you place your cursor anywhere in the symbol column. Here. You don't have to, again, like in the universe tab, you don't have to highlight everything, Control C, Control V. Put your cursor anywhere on the symbol tab. The system knows if your cursor is on the symbol tab, you are trying to get all the rows that are here now. Which are the rows here now? Those that are giving signal today. And what signal? I filtered for touch, orange color. So today, memory touch. Put your cursor on the symbol, click the peer analysis. Now remember, total symbols were 379, but if I click the button, you see 201. So 201 stocks touched memory support, and now it will retrieve the data. You may carry out a peer analysis, look for star long candidate or long trade candidate. So it has updated the data. I may click the peer analysis. I have all the stocks here. I may click the star candidate and see which ones actually went up. They touched memory support doesn't mean they went up. I see these three stocks went up by significant percentages. I'm demonstrating how to use the complete workflow. I'm going to close all the metastock charts. Come back to QVital. These are star candidates. Why? Because they are undervalued and have very nice earnings growth. They went up by significant percentages yesterday. In fact, I could include these two also and click the chart icon. They are going to open with the smart chart, that is daily, and I can see Intel recovered very nicely, has memory support and memory resistance. Because it has memory resistance, not interested. OMI inside narrow range, memory support resistance, not interested. UCTT, it is looking more bullish than the others. It had a very nice higher high, however again has a memory resistance, not interested. This one touched the memory support, but again this is having red color candle in the daily chart, not a time I would like to buy. Was there any other stock? This one is looking most optimal for buying, if at all, among these few stocks. This moving in a narrow range. Earlier it had a bullish headwind that could catch the very bottom. There was a bearish headwind, price came down little bit, holding the memory support. Yesterday went up. It's a star candidate for buying. If the market was going up, I wouldn't buying this stock. That is how you may now transfer the stocks from Finder to Vital. If you are using any of these columns, it will get only the highlighted stocks in Vital, and if you put your cursor on the symbol column, it will get the entire list. I see one thing, that when I am double clicking on the column header, it's not sorting, so please don't download it. I have to fix that. When I made the changes, that feature got affected somehow. By today I will update QFinder. However, you may download QVital, QIndex, QH. If you noticed QVital, one more thing I want to show you. Now I am doing a peer analysis of PLCE. You will see there is another graph that will come up here. Now market is not open. It may be showing all 0%. During market hours, it will show what percentage of peer stocks are up and down. You can see currently 0-day up down numbers are also 0, 0. Nothing is up, nothing is down. Market has not opened. If the market was open, it would show me the graph. For example, if I look at an Indian stock, let's say ICICI Bank, it's also listed in New York Stock Exchange, different ticker symbol. Indian market has closed, so if I do a peer analysis of ICBK, very big diversified banks in India, you will see it will show me in a graphical manner, and instantly I could read this. That facility was already there, 4 up, 11 down. The graph instantly shows that the peer stocks were weak overall. So these are the few changes. Again, to simplify trading, whenever I add something, if you have noticed, is to simplify trading, not to complicate trading. The ease of use is a constant in all the systems. I see a question, do you have this for TradeStation? Which one are you referring to, Mike? The Reuters database systems, QEdge, QVital, QIndex, QFinder, they are not on TradeStation, they are based on Metastock Zenith. Q Global based on Metastock, and Q Elite is based on TradeStation. Okay, we are past 1 hour. You may download all the systems from download folder dated 14th May, but please wait, don't download the finder. I will update the Q Finder with today's date stamp 15th May in a few hours time. That was all that I planned to share in today's session. Thank you for attending. As I mentioned again, if the market doesn't move significantly, today may not be the day to enter many new trades. Instead, I will try to exit some of my positions. and decide again with a fresh mind based on how the market moves next Monday, whether to take long trades or short trades. Thank you once again. I look forward to seeing you again in my next session. Have a great week, have a great weekend, and trade profitably.